myself and my colleague Justus Monene, and on behalf of the APA Insurance Management team, we want to welcome you this morning and thank you for finding time to join us so that we can discuss on what is happening. As we all realize, mental health has become a key challenge to our country. And we also realize that the impact that we are getting on mental health, we would say about 50% or 70% would come from the relationships we are having, either through our partners, our parents, our friends, our colleagues, and many, many relationships that are connected to us. So we at APA Insurance thought it would be a good thing that we join together and let us look at how these relationships impact on our mental health so that we can learn something and we can learn how to handle them so that we can be able to help the others also. So kindly please join us, feel welcomed, be our guests, and whatever we learn today, let's share it with the rest of our friends who have not joined us today. And without much time, I would like to welcome Professor Catherine on board. Professor, thank you very much for finding time to join us this morning. And Professor Catherine is actually the director at the Kenya Institute of Business and Counselling Studies. She's been a key person in the mental health in the Republic of Kenya. She's been a mentor to many, and currently she sits on many boards that are taking care of the mental health in this country. So I'd like to take the honor to invite you, Professor Catherine Gachutha, on board. Kindly take over so that you can help us to learn something this morning. Over to you, Catherine. I think you need to unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
I unmuted
Thank you.
one. Yeah, thank you so much for guidance, Zainab. I'm very delighted to have these conversations with you in a way of a presentation so that we can look at something your functionality as a worker, even as an individual, because you'd want to be able to be fully functional at a personal level, even in the midst of friends and even within community, interacting with other institutions, interacting with other peers, within your marriage, within your parenting. You'd want to make sure your the way you're functioning as a person, that you are having a full functioning operation within yourself. And therefore we are going to be looking at that in this particular presentation. And we are also happy as Kenya Institute of Business and Counselling Studies because of the ones that have been coming to us, so that we can be able to take you through therapies, certainly confidential. There is no information that we give to the management of APA that is private. We, apart from the forms that they have given us for us to be submitting, because again, that information is confidential and it's a journey that you're walking, so that you can be able to be in touch with yourself and you can be able to handle the challenges that you encounter, because we all do that. Even as therapists, we find ourselves in that space where we are needing another one to listen for us, to help us to be able to think through with objectivity, with clarity, to be able to be curious about what is happening in our lives. And so today we are going to be looking at relationships and mental health. And we are looking at how our relationships can impact on mental health. And again, we can also look at how mental health impacts on relationships, because it's a relationship, both of them, our relationships and mental health, and also mental health and relationships. And therefore, that's what we are going to be looking at. And I am having a bit of a problem now moving the slides, but it's okay. Thank you. So mental health and physical health have a bi-direction and complex relationship. When our mental health is not okay, certainly our physical health is going to be impacted upon. When mentally you are not able to process well, when you're not able to be in touch with whatever you're going through, or you're very conflicted in the inside, what happens is that you can be stressed, and that can give you a high blood pressure, or it can give you diabetes, it can give you another medical condition. There is a hand that is raised for Ibrahim. Ibrahim, you'd want to say? All right. So the World Health Organization defines health as a state of complete physical and mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And that is important, that when we are talking about health, it is not one aspect. We are not only talking about mental. And many a times people will think we are only talking about mental, but it's not so. We are talking about holistic health, because mental health touches on physical health, touches on social well-being, and that is why we are looking at our relationships. How do they impact, either positively or negatively, on the mental well-being or lack of it? And we are saying, when it is when health is defined as a state of complete physical and mental and social, and in some definitions it will even go further and say spiritual well-being, but not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. One may have infirmity, you may have a condition, but the way you are processing, you have accepted that you have cancer, it is in this stage, but you're okay, and you're telling yourself, I am going to live fruit-free, even if I am going through this, and I'm going to relate with people well, and my spirituality is going to be in tune, and physically I will do the best I can in the situation. It's important to appreciate that there is no health without mental health, meaning that if there is a component that you really need to guard with all your might, it is your mental health. And we need to ask ourselves, how do we then guard our mental health when the unhealth is coming from outside, when the unhealth is coming from relationships? Mental health is far more than the absence of mental illness, we have said, and has to do with many aspects. It has to do with how to feel about yourself. How do you feel about yourself at this point in time? How do you feel about yourself? Are you feeling that you are happy, you are contented, you're fulfilled, you are at peace with yourself? Or are you feeling the opposite of that? Again, how to feel about others. Do you feel others are unkind? They are perpetrators, they are abusers, they are violators, they are inconsiderate. How do you describe others that are significant to you? And those may be people who are your managers in workplace, those that you relate with at the same level. If you are a line manager at the same level, if you are reporting to the line managers, among yourselves in your own division, how do you define relationships? How do you define your relationship with your parents, with your children, with your spouses? How do you do that? And how are we able to meet our demands? Do you think that you have raised your bar or you have lowered your bar in terms of the way that you're meeting your needs. There are times that you feel that you're doing very well. You're managing even your finances very well, and you're growing your assets. It doesn't matter you're growing them from what level, but you can see, even if they are small assets, there are incremental measures that you're appreciating about the growth and development of your finances and your assets. And therefore, you are able to meet the demands. The demands of your life can be many. They are not just financial, but the demand to give yourself emotional care, or even to give yourself physical care. Are we exercising enough? Or do you feel that you are always not having time to be in that space? But again, you can tell yourself, if you do not have time to be able to take care of yourself physically, what can you be able to do within where you are at? What can you be able to do? That means that you're still recorrecting yourself and trying to see what you can be able to do within your limited resources. When we talk about mental illnesses, it is a group of mental disorders that causes severe disturbance. And the severe disturbance is in your thinking, when you're feeling that you're not very sure that you're leading and interpreting situations very well. And a friend talks to you and you're thinking, what made me to think that way? David, your hand is up. David, your hand is up. You'd want to say something? Okay, I'll be guided. I'll be guided by sign up. So I say it is a group of mental disorders that causes severe disturbances, and it can be in your thinking. And you're finding yourself interpreting the world or interpreting experiences in a very negative way. That friends who did not mean bad, you're seeing as if they are against you. They are malicious, like they don't wish you well. And they tell you, by the way, that's not what I meant. And I didn't think that way. You may have thought that way, but I didn't think that way. And you start questioning yourself and asking yourself, what is getting me to this space when I am seeing all things led, where I am interpreting experiences in very negative ways? I'm only seeing bad. I'm only seeing negativity. I am only seeing like people are against me. You can be in that space where you are actually not very well, but you're not realizing that you're not well until now you start doing a scrutiny of your own thinking. You're feeling low, you're feeling defranchised, you're not yourself, you are angry, you are irritable, you are fearful, you are disappointed all the time. Those feelings that you have, and you're saying, I am so preoccupied with negative feelings. I am in that space where I am too preoccupied with negative emotions, and it's not me anymore. I do not know me as this that I have become, meaning that you're seeing yourself progressively getting into a space that is very strange for you. In terms of relating, you do not want to relate. You are getting irritable. You are getting overly angry. You are pushing people away. You are putting yourself away from other people. You are withdrawing and you are isolating. You get into the house and you'd want to go and sleep or sit in your bedroom. Sometimes you don't want to do much. Even when you know you are called upon to do something, you're feeling, I am not in that space where I can do what I used to do. And so people with a mental illness often have difficulty with dealing with daily life. When you find daily life to be very stressful, then just know that this is a signal that you need to do something. We are trying to look into the understanding, where are we at, and what can we really say that now I need to start doing something about what is happening to me. So mental illness can occur when the brain or part of the brain is not working well or is working in a wrong way. Certainly, just like any gadget that can work in a wrong way. We have vehicles that work in a wrong way, that you're trying to start it and it is not starting. You are trying to stop it and it is not stopping. It is still accelerating. You can find your thoughts accelerating. And even when you put a brake to them, when you're saying, I don't want to think in that way, I don't want to go in that line, and you find it is still accelerating, like you don't have the brakes to stop yourself. So your system, your brain system now, you know that you're having a mental illness when you start realizing that the working of your brain is not the way you know it. And because we have different components of the brain, and I don't want to go technical about it, we have different components of the brain. If it is a component of the brain that has to do with logical thinking, rational thinking, decision making, which is the executive function of your brain, and that part of the brain is now affected, then what happens is that even your ability to be able to reason out, to have the ability to make decisions, become incapacitated. So when the brain is not working properly, one or more of its functions become disrupted. And these are the functions that become disrupted: your thinking, the way you think, the way you look at situations, the way you interpret, the way you analyze, the way you look at situations, and the way you perceive them, meaning the meaning that you give to your thoughts, that I am thinking that way, I am thinking that my boss is against me. What is the meaning that I take out of it? And I can tell myself, I think my boss is concerned about my other performance, and I need to do something about it. I need to go and look for a counselor. I can now reach out to the Division of Health so that they can guide me on what to do, meaning at that particular time that you are not just blaming and judging, but you would want to take responsibility in your own perception, the meaning making component within your brain. You're trying to take charge and you're trying to take responsibility. Another function is emotion, and also signaling, and also your physical body, and also your behavior will tell you where things are working for you or they are not working for you. So we are now trying to bring the two components now, relationships and mental health, and ask ourselves, what is the connection in here? What is the connection between mental health and relationships? When you are having healthy relationships in all those spheres that we have talked about, whether it's the marriage sphere, or it is the family, or it is even other organizations that you relate with, or even in workplace at APA, or even within the community or out there with your friends, healthy relationships contribute to your own mental well-being. And that is why we need to be very careful how you are relating with people who are toxic and very negative to you, always criticizing you, always cutting you to size, always seeing the negative in you, the bad in you, and not wanting to pick the good in you, however small that is. But the way you respond to them can complicate matters rather than improve your relationship with them, because again, we are saying, when it comes to significant relationships, they are the ones that impact on you very heavily. Those can be like your parents, or even your spouse, or even your children, or even your religious relationships, whether they are the ones that are taking leadership alongside you, or even in workplace, your managers, or the ones that you manage under you. You know, the way you relate with them will either give you health or take away health from you. Because again, relationships are an aspect of survival. Just like we say eating is an aspect of survival, if you do not eat well, then survival is going to be threatened. In the same way, when our relationships are not in order, when they are not fully functioning, then there is a way they threaten your survival. And it's important to be able to map out your relationships and to see the ones that are healthy and the ones that are not healthy, and what you need to do in each one of the situations, so that you're not drinking pain and drinking hurt and drinking frustration and drinking stress. And all these are affecting you, and they continue to aggravate your health. So people who feel meaningfully connected, you have a good connection with your boss. You have a good connection with those that are under you. You have a good connection with family members who are very significant to you. So when you're meaningfully connected and you have healthy relationships, then you can be able to even access the help that is required, because you have good connections and good relationships. But unhealthy relationships contribute to health issues and challenges. You're saying health issues because you can find yourself getting to a level where you are having migraines, because you have a headache, because of a marriage that is so dysfunctional, or a marriage that is getting out of health and it's now harmful to both of you. So those unhealthy relationships, they contribute to mental health issues and other challenges. Other challenges can include you're finding yourself even not wanting to go to work. That means absenteeism, getting late, underperformance is coming in, inability also to relate with other people. It started with significant others. Now it is going to other areas, inability to pray. You're not able to pray. You used to be a very spiritual person. You're not interested anymore. There are many things that are not happening. You go to your children because you're having this thing that you have not sorted out, and you're not able to think very well, because we said it has to do with your thinking and the way you're perceiving your thinking, that you go home and you're shouting at your children. They have done nothing. They're asking, Mom, what have we done this time round? And Dad, what have we done this time round? We cannot understand the reason as to why you are shouting at us, the reason as to why you are irritable at us. We just asked you, are you going to pay school fees tomorrow? Because we've been given a deadline for payment of the school fees. You can tell me, Mom, you don't have. You can tell me, Dad, you don't have. But getting irritable, getting even angry with my friends, getting even angry with anything that belongs to me, I do not understand anymore, Mom and Dad. But maybe they may not even be able to tell you that. And therefore, what they do is that they start reacting to and everyone is reacting to the other one, and it's becoming a very hostile environment and a very toxic environment, and everyone is catching the toxicity and projecting it on the next person. So a person's mental health affect how they interact with people in their lives, how you are interacting with your parents, with your peers, with your partners, when you're doing a program with your teachers, with your co-workers, with your bosses, with everyone. You can add to that list. Who are the caring persons? Or what is caring? If we can define what care is, what is it that you can say is healthy in a relationship, is proper, is what anyone would want to have and to connect with and to plug to, where there is support, that you're having support, all those people that we have categorized, when you're getting support from them, encouragement, you have done up to this level, even in an appraisal at work, because it is not meant for condemnation. It is not meant for punishment, but it's meant for improvement. That the reason as to why this appraisal is being done, it is done so that we can see areas that you're doing very well, that you need to retain, and areas you are performing very poorly, that you need to figure out what is making you to perform very poorly. Is it training that you require more? Is it skills that you need to upskill? Is it what do you need to do? And also that you will be able to see, you'll be able to tell your growth trajectory. You'll be able to tell where you're going in terms of your career, in terms of your vocational development, that you know where you are headed and you are careful, that you'd want to do well. The encouragement, when you're getting encouraged in whatever is happening, but you may be getting discouragement. There are people who do not know how to encourage, but they know how to hit below the belt. They know how to bring you down. They know how to chastise you. They know how to bully you. And it is important as we go through like this professional development, personal development webinars, that we can continually pick where our weaknesses are and work on them. Am I a boss who is negative? Then I need to ask myself, where is it coming from? Is it coming from also being stressed myself? Is it coming from the projections from other people? Or is it coming from unresolved issues that I need to deal with? Someone who is listening, a listening individual, and also accepting. When you're not accepted, you can pick it because you feel pushed away. You feel neglected. You feel not attended to. You feel insignificant. You can be feeling insignificant in relationship to your spouse because your spouse will compare you with others. Why can't you be like so-and-so? Why can't you dress like so-and-so? Why can't you eat like so-and-so? You have no manners, eating manners on the table. Why can't you eat like so-and-so? Why can't you go to school? Why can't you support me like so-and-so? And so it is always about being criticized. It is always about the wrong being identified, but the light being identified is not the practice. And therefore, the aspect of reasoning, you feel, I'm not getting listened to. I'm not getting accepted. I am always criticized. I am always shouted at. And that criticism makes you to become defensive. You start becoming defensive. You start using defense mechanisms. You are rationalizing. You are saying no, that, even if you don't even give yourself time and space to be able to understand what is happening, you have raised your defense because you feel endangered. It came from criticism. Now it is you raising your defenses. And you know that it's like you're putting a protection around you. You are saying, if you can't defend me, I'll defend me. If you can't protect me, I will protect me. If you can't say things that are good about me, you know. But when we are defensive, when you are defensive, it can work for you for a little while. But if that is what you're going to be using in workplace, at home, then others are going to say, we cannot be able to work with this kind of a person who is always on their toes, who is so hypersensitive, who always seem as if she or he is subjective and not objective about situations. So again, you need to be careful. But it moves now from you becoming defensive and takes you to another level where now you start generating content, a lot of content, a lot of anger and resentment within you. And you're saying, we can't be put together in the same division with so-and-so. And we can't be put together in the same section with so-and-so. I'm not even going to go with him or her in this particular exercise that we are supposed to be going to Coast Legion or wherever. I am not going to do that. The resentment has gotten you to a very high level. And so eventually what happens is that you build a wall. You build a wall, it is like you are in a shell now, and it cannot be penetrated inside. You say, me, he talks to me, and I don't talk back. So when one has created a wall, it is when you are telling yourself they don't exist, and I don't want them to get near me. That can be your spouse that you have created a wall for. No sex, no nothing, no talking, no sleeping in the same bedroom, no even wanting to hear. Even when the person is talking, you are saying, I don't want to hear anything. I really don't want to hear anything. Don't speak to me. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear. So you have created a wall. You'd want to be trusted. Care means that you can be supported, even when you don't deserve to be trusted, that someone can say, I wish you can work on that because you still a spreaded individual in 1, 2, 3, because no one lacks completely in terms of something positive that we can say about them. Then respect, you would want to be honored and respected. When you're not honored at home, not honored within your marriage, not honored even in the workplace, then you feel like you don't belong. This is not my place. This is not where I want to be. And you start applying jobs, even if the position you hold is giving you a lot of privileges and is giving you a good enough salary. When you are given an opportunity to negotiate difference, that I am different. I am not entangled. I am different. And one psychologist talks about who we are in terms of structure of personality and say that we comprise 3 components. And one of the components is the id, which is the biological component of who we are. And the biological component of who we are, you just want to keep on being fed. It's about needs. It's that this child who would want to suck and will cry or throw tantrums because the child is wet. And the only language that a child has is when the child is crying so that the child can be attended to. That is the id. That is the part of oneself that is more biological in nature. But we have now the superego, and the superego is where values are and where beliefs are kept. And it's about the do and don'ts, the rights and wrongs, all those. And maybe you grow in a family where the right and wrong is what is emphasized because you come from a religious background. And therefore, there are certain things that you're not supposed to do. You are supposed to follow particular protocols and particular rules and regulations. And many a times you feel like you are in a prison. You're not supposed to negotiate for a difference. You're not supposed to stand out and be different and be unique. And you always feel like you'd want to run away and go and create a world of your own. But then you can negotiate difference. You can say, I'm different, and other people can say it's okay for you to be different, provided you're not injuring us with your difference. And when you are injuring yourself, we will tell you, and then you will decide whether you want to attend to it. But you also know that in workplace, the rules and regulations, they have to be followed in a particular way. And when people don't fit, then they are going to be the ones that ship out when it comes now to the superego. And then we have the ego, and the ego is the executive component or the executive branch of personality. And the executive branch is the one that is able to connect with the reality, connect with the outside world, be able to perceive that outside world, be able to negotiate rationally and objectively. Even within your marriage, you're saying, you know what? You're not going to be shouting at me like that, and I'm not going to be shouting at you like that. We need to have new rules and regulations in this family. I'm not going to be having a headache, because when I have a headache, we are the ones that are taking care of those bills. So you're not going to be shouting at me, and I'm not going to be shouting at you. We have to have a deal where there is going to be respect between ourselves, where there is going to be honor within ourselves. And each one of us has to take responsibility in regard to how we honor the other person. We are not going to be talking inappropriately. That kind of a language, that kind of a pitch that you speak to me with, that kind of a volume that you put when you want to shout at me, no. It's not anything that I would want to allow, that you talk to me in that way, because it is not honorable and you're driving me down the drain. When you're relating with each other in the components that we are talking about here, the supporting, the encouragement, or the encouraging, the reasoning, that you're getting reason to, that you're getting accepted and you can accept yourself, you're getting trusted and you can trust yourself, and you're getting respected and you can respect yourself, and you have an opportunity for you to be able to negotiate differences. There is something that our psychologists say and applies even in everyday life, that we have ego states. There is how we transact with each other. And relationships are about transacting. Relationships are about how we transact business, because life is a business and we transact with each other every day, every moment. And you'd want to make sure that the way you transact and the way you allow other people to transact with you is going to be in a way that you are well protected and well taken care of. Someone called Susan Gilmore says that life is about business, or life is a business, and every day you're doing business with yourself and others. And so in the ego state, we either transact with other persons in the position of a parent. And so when you are a parent, you are shouting, you are commanding, you are giving rules and regulations, you're teaching, you're coaching. Others are at a lower level. That's the way you perceive them. So you are a parent, you are transacting from a parental position. And there are people who transact from parental positions and they don't know when they need to drop that so that they can transact with others at an equal level. If within your marriage, you're getting treated like a child, because when someone is talking to you like a parent, listen and listen very well. When you're told to reason and reason well, and do not try to respond to me. I am the one who says here. because I am the one who takes care of the bills here. So you don't feel respected because a person is talking to you as a child, and you have the tendency of reciprocating that. So the stance that you take that makes it very difficult for you and pushes you to worse places in terms of mental health is when you respond now as a child. As a child, you're whining. As a child, you're crying. As a child, you are withdrawing into your room. As a child, you now reciprocate as a child. Yes, you are a wife. Yes, you are a worker. But now you have started crying, you have started whining, you have started, all the things that children do, complaining. You have started complaining. And the other person now feels that they have now the right to tell you more, to become your own parent more. They assert themselves much more. And you feel like you are in a box, like you have no way of breathing. And you feel you're getting suffocated, because the more you become a child, the more this person becomes a parent. The best position as workers to be is when we are treating each other as adults, whether we are in positions of leadership and management, that we are treating other people as adults who are worth respect. And the ones that are being managed, that they are also treating the bosses and the ones who are direct reports as people to be respected and people to be honored. So the three ego states, that you don't become a child all the time, you don't become a parent all the time, because we develop and we grow, so we cannot be children all the time. You try to gear yourself towards becoming an adult and transacting from an adult level, not transacting from a child level, and not transacting as a parent, because it's going to demolish the self-esteem of others, the worth of other people. And we are now going to be receiving them as therapists and psychologists in our offices. Not that receiving them is a bad thing, but it can be prevented. We want to go for prevention much more than the cure. And so what are the characteristics of your good health? How would you know that indeed you are healthy? Number one, when you feel good about yourself, you're waking up in the morning and you're really feeling good about yourself. What is the feeling that you had this morning? Is it a feeling of goodness, a feeling of contentment, feeling of satisfaction, feeling of happiness and joy and contentment? What is the feeling that you had? But maybe it was opposite, meaning that you are having a characteristic, or you're having characteristics of poor mental health. When you feel comfortable with other people, when you are able to meet the demands of life, when you are able to express your emotions in a healthy way, I feel hurt. Not that you are hurting me, because if I tell you are hurting me, you are paining me, you are defranchising me, you are making me stressed, then you're going to say, how did I do that? And when did I do that? But I can say, I feel stressed. I feel not taken care of. I feel disrespected. And so you can say, is it me who has disrespected you? Yes, I don't feel treated well when you shout at me like that, because I feel that my age is not taken into account when you talk to me in that way. And then maybe you can tell me, but you don't behave your age, then behave your age. And I can say, even if I have those moments of not behaving my age, I still deserve honor and I still deserve respect, because I hurt when I get treated in that way. Yes, I'll change the way I respond, but I'm also asking of you that treating me as an adult is not a condition that you're going to give to me. When you are optimistic, you are positive. When you're using health skills like stress management, that you have moments of breathing in and out, you have moments of journaling, moments of taking a retreat, moments of joining a group that is healthy, maybe singing, and you'd want to sing or playing a guitar because it's something that you love to do, stress management strategies that you employ on yourself, and decision making, conflict resolution, that you know how to bring conflict down without complicating relationships. You bring the temperature of the relationships down, whether it is the temperature of your marriage down, with your spouse or with anyone else within the family. It might be mom who is shouting, and maybe we are not realizing that mom is not in a very good space when it comes to her mental health. She may be going through a process of forgetting, and we are not understanding whether that is dementia or what it is, and she's getting irritable with us, and we are getting irritable back with her. We are not helping situations when we do that, and it gets very worse, and we don't know what to do when it comes to that. So having and employing conflict resolution strategies that work, and using I messages, that you're not saying you, because when you say you, the you says me, it is not me. And therefore, you have to say, I am feeling, I am thinking, you know, because it is you, and you are the authority, you are the agency. No one can question you when it is you, because you have a right to feel that way. You have a right to want that which you want, as long as you are also becoming more realistic with your wants and your needs and all that. But taking the I position in expressing yourself helps other people not to feel judged and not to feel condemned, and they help you to be able to understand your own situation, and you also help them to understand you much better. When you cope and adapt to change, when you become much more assertive, and becoming assertive is different from becoming aggressive. Many a times we become aggressive when we feel that other people are treating us as children or idiots. Then we become aggressive. We become like them. We join them in mismanagement of others. But now we are saying, become assertive. Say, I deserve respect. I deserve to be talked to in a moderated way. I deserve that the words that are used on me are words that are well thought out. Becoming assertive and becoming an active reasoner, because if you want others to be active reasoners, then you'd better communicate the same from your own end. Becoming a part of the team and enjoying being within the team, and exercising your powers within the team and allowing other people to exercise their powers within the team is a good thing to have. But we can also have characteristics of poor mental health. And how do we know that we are not doing very well? And at one time or another, we find ourselves in these situations, dealing with the rough edges of who we are. Like when you are not able to share feelings, you are saying, I reached a point I don't share anymore. And so others can step on you because they don't know you're hurting, they don't know you're paining. You may not have been listened to, but you can go to that other level. But you're not sharing feelings. It's not well. Emotions control behaviors. Anger controls you. You find yourself throwing knives and throwing cups and throwing tables on others because the emotion of anger and aggression is the one that has taken control of you. Or fear, allowing your behavior to be controlled by fear. You have always wanted to do this program, but you always fear you're not going to do well. And it is an irrational thought, and emotion of fear is not very rational too. And therefore your behavior in terms of progression is affected by an emotion. is pessimistic. You become negative, ignore and deny problems. But even when you close your eyes to the problems and hide yourself in the sad, they don't go away. In fact, they become more mountainous. They accumulate much more. Those problems within your marriage are not getting less by you closing your eye, whether it is one eye or two eyes or your ears, or you're mute in terms of talking, because sometimes we become bright and we become mute and we become deaf to the situation. And the more we give situations that kind of a treatment, the situations gain power. And they are going to gain power to a point they will throw us to the floor. And we will try to wake up, and we are not going to have the power against what we have allowed to grow and get to this level where the power is too much. We cannot be able to handle it. Let's stress control life. Or you messages, you are blaming, you are escalating, you see problems in others, the stance that you take is I am okay, you're not okay. I'm okay, they are not okay. That now makes other people resent you. Because when you say you're okay within your marriage and other people are not okay and your spouse is not okay, your spouse is going to resent you heavily, because your spouse is going to think, who gave you the title of entitlement? Who gave you entitlement? That you're the only one who is deserving honor and privilege, but other people are supposed to be scandalized and discriminated upon and trampled upon. Who did that? But it's because you have a stance, I am okay, I am good, they are not good, and they are not okay. Or when you give people a lot of power, when you are saying, I'm not okay, but they are okay, and he is okay. Maybe mental health has driven you to that space, narrow space. But it's important for you to realize that only you can rescue yourself from there, either by support or by yourself. When you are depressed, when you are running from conflicts, you don't face your conflicts, you run away from conflicts, you're not well. When you're close-minded and you want to see things from only one direction, you're not well. When you need to learn the group yourself and you do not see others having the potential and the resources to do it, we are not well. And so there are 8 dimensions of wellness. And among the 8 dimensions of wellness that you need to look into, one is the physical, the intellectual. You'd want to sharpen your intellectual all the time. The emotional, and Goldman can tell us more about that. And Goldman tells us that you need to have emotional intelligence, and emotional intelligence has to do with the ability to be in touch with your own emotions and to regulate your own emotions. Not only in touch with anger so that you can say, I'm so angry. That is not enough. You have to take it to another level and manage your anger and say, for me, when I am angry, even the Bible says, and I imagine the Quran will say, and I imagine even the Hindu Hore books will say that the sun should not go down, maybe differently. The sun should not go down when you're still angry, because if it does, then you are attracting other unhealthy conditions within yourself. So that ability to also regulate your own emotions, and emotions will know that they are not the senior within you, they are the junior within you. They come to alert you about certain things, but they don't come to occupy the place that you are in. So you can manage them, you can deal with them, either by talking to the other person who has annoyed you, or by becoming assertive. You say, you know, I am deserving. in this marriage, we buy a land together and you write your name alone. It is not fair. It does not even respect that human beings will be in this world for only a period of time. It doesn't respect. So when we buy, when we are within this marriage, then we are written, both of us. Our names have to appear, both of us, so that both of us can feel this is ours. This is not only yours, but this is ours. But we can ask ourselves, where did we lose power? Maybe we lost our power even during dating and courtship. That is when we gave all the power to our spouses, and therefore they can learn our lives. That is where we needed to take our power and make power to be more reciprocal. I'm not saying that people are equal. We are never equal, but we can be transactional in a positive way and in a reciprocal way. Emotional intelligence says that I will pick your emotions and be able to regulate them. That you are picking the emotions of other people. You're looking at them, you can see the struggle they are going through and say, you are very frustrated at this point in time. And I don't know what you want me to do so that your frustration can come down. Or what do you think you need to do? Even the mere mention of you are frustrated and the person can resonate with that they are frustrated is one way of managing their own emotions. So that emotional intelligence is important, where you manage your own emotions and you manage the emotions of those other people that are significant to you. If my husband comes, he was having targets because he is in marketing. And then he comes with this climate of ordering everyone around, shouting and bullying everyone in the house. And I am realizing this guy, if we are not very careful, he will learn on us and step on us, and we are all going to start hurting each other. So at that point, I'm saying, can you sit down? You first of all take tea. You first of all rest a bit. And so when he's seated is when he will say, I am tired, my target didn't come through, and all that. Because you are picking what is happening in the other person, the spiritual, the environmental, the financial, the occupational, the social. And Gorman has written a book on social intelligence. There are people who are very socially intelligent because now a lot of research on multiple intelligences has been carried out, and the encouragement out there is where we can acquire a few, 1, 2, 3 intelligences, so that we are doing very well in those areas. Social intelligence, that you are able to relate with people and they can give you anything. They can even give you their children because they find you to be very accommodating. They find you to be caring. They find you to be a person who is nurturing. All that is important. There are things that get us to a level where we start getting sick. They can be inherited traits in a family, schizophrenia, committing suicide, certain mental health illnesses within a family, major depression and all that, or even negative life experiences. What have you been through lately? Are you going through a marriage that is not working? No matter how much you're trying to work it out, it's not working. Then those negative experiences can be very traumatic. This person who is always suspecting you, this person who is always seeing the wrong in you, this person who is even suspecting that you can bewitch them, And you get traumatized with that someone can think that about you. You have never known yourself to be that evil, but now someone is thinking you can be that evil and that you can actually implement that evil on them. Also, environmental exposure. It can be viruses or toxins or even the alcohol or drugs within a household where there are favorable attitudes towards the use. And even the brain chemistry and hormonal imbalances can get people to be in that space. I want us to think a little bit about what we call ACE, that is adverse childhood experiences. If you went through adverse childhood experiences, like for example, being brought up by a mom who had a depression, that is maternal depression, meaning because of her depression, then the way she related with you, maybe putting away and sleeping and not being there for you and not nurturing you and feeding you and giving you availability, that maternal depression is an adverse childhood experience, because as a child, you have a lot of needs, but those needs can only be met by another. They cannot be met only by, you are in the formative stage anyway. Even emotional and sexual abuse will get, an adverse childhood experience. If a child was emotionally neglected, emotionally chastised and bullied, maybe in Form 1, you're bullied by those girls that you found that were in Form 2 or Form 3, you have never forgotten that abuse. It was emotional, it was sexual, maybe. We have had situations of even in girls' schools where girls have been molested, even sticks being put in the vagina, and then someone being insulted with all kinds of words and all. It may not be coitus, but it's something sexual. Nevertheless, that is in the adverse childhood experiences. And a lot of research have been done on adverse childhood experiences and how it affects the mental health of individuals. Also, substance abuse in childhood. It may be your parents or even yourself being given beer at that age, or even domestic violence. You can't take it, the shouting, the disrespect, the not providing, all those things that happen in a domestic, in a home where there is domestic violence, or even homelessness, that you didn't have a place to stay. You are chased away from home and you are homeless for a whole month. That can lead you into, let alone having mental health challenges. Also incarceration, being in jail, or even mental illnesses of other members of the family, or even divorce. When parents divorce, children are not able to take it. You may feel entitled to divorce and that no one can take away from you, but you also need to appreciate that that is loving the children the long way. And that can become a precept, or it can become the genesis of your children having mental health challenges later on in life. Also physical and emotional neglect, that physically you have been maybe not fed, your parents not being there, and even emotionally not attended to. When you even have an emotion like sadness, you are asked why you are sad. No one wants to listen to you to understand why you're sad, why you're frustrated. You're being asked, how can you be frustrated when we are paying the school fees? And therefore they hardly get to know what is happening to you because they hardly reason. But it can be other factors, adverse community environments that we go through, like discrimination. You can be discriminated as a woman, even in our households. Parents die, and the male children say, nothing you girls can get from our father's estate. And you're thinking, where do we go? What do we do? How do we handle our own lives? You know, that discrimination of gender. You're being discriminated because of gender. You're being discriminated because of education. In your family, you didn't go, or some people within the family did not go very far with education. And the ones with education feel privileged, and they keep on making the others who are not very well educated to feel not good enough. You know, those kind of things where discrimination will come with all sorts of things hidden, in all sorts of ways, whether it's within gender, whether it is within a developmental stage, because you're much older, then you're discriminated upon, and the ones that are younger are given more privileges and all that. Poverty, community disruption. COVID disrupted community. We were to have social distance. We couldn't go where we used to go before because of the lockdowns. Community disruption was there. Politics come to disrupt community. Lack of opportunity, economic mobility, and social capital. Or even poor housing quality and affordability, and violence. Sometimes there can be a lot of violence. You cannot be able to walk at night. There is community disruption in that sense because of the violations that happens when it is dark. I want you to take 5 minutes so that you can be able to help yourself, or even stand up and stretch out. And then we will pick it up from there. So we are going to start again at 9:20. Thank you so much for listening. Just relax a bit. I'm back now. So we can resume. We are looking at those adverse experiences that children go through, or even as adults, you may be going through adverse community environments. And when you go through those adverse community environments, or even the adverse childhood experiences, that affects mental health. That indeed affects mental health, and you need to be careful. Allow me to capture what we are talking about is in this diagram. The mechanism by which adverse childhood experiences influence health and well-being throughout the lifespan. Because what we are looking at is, what are you going through and how is it affecting your mental health? If we can be able to relate those two, that helps us to be able to see how we need to navigate in there, because you need to know how to navigate in there. So the adverse childhood experiences that we have talked about, whether it is emotional neglect or sexual molestation, or it is abandonment, or it is divorce, just like we said, all those experiences that children can go through. And then at the other level is disrupted neurodevelopment. Because if children go through adverse childhood experience, and if I can take you back a little bit, we said having a mother who is mentally unwell and she's the one who is the main caregiver, or even a dad or a mom who is using substances and there is domestic violence, or you are homeless at one point or incarcerated, or a person with a mental illness and is a very significant person to you, or going through divorce as a child, your parents are going through divorce, and you are drinking the pain and the hurt and the frustration and the confusion that comes with the divorce. When parents are so wrapped up in what is happening to them, they are not even seeing what is happening in the life of the children, and the physical and the emotional neglect. And we are saying when a child goes through adverse childhood experience, because for some of us, we may still be having difficulties because of ACE, because of adverse childhood experiences. And what happens when a child goes through that, those adverse childhood experiences, research tells us that they go through disrupted neurodevelopment. Their bodies, because we are talking about now the neuroscience, their bodies, their neurological processes gets disrupted. And also they have social, emotional, and cognitive impairment. They see the world as harassing, the world as negative, the world as polarizing. That's how they see the world. That is from a more cognitive point of view. And emotionally, you are affected. You are affected emotionally. You're not able to regulate yourself in the way we said before, and even socially. Then the child will adopt health risk behaviors. And adoption of healthy risk behaviors can be dropping out of school, or even taking substances of abuse, or even fighting conduct problems. And eventually, there is going to be disease and disability and social problems and early death. That kind of a child will die early. Now, and this is what I am going to be finalizing with. The attachment styles are how you interact and how you react and respond and behave in your relationships. When there is secure relationship, and this would have happened with parents growing up, and you have a secure attachment with parents because they are receptive and they are accommodating and they are allowing you to express yourself and they are holding you when you need to be held. And therefore there is a secure bonding and attachment that is built. But then if a parent is dismissive, a parent is not there, it is formed when a parent fails to meet their children's needs emotionally. Maybe it happened to you. And often children with this attachment style are afraid of and incapable of tolerating true intimacy. This person is a person who becomes avoidant and dismisses others because of what happened growing up. And also, we have anxious or preoccupied persons in terms of attachment. And it is associated with an inconsistent parenting style. And a child with this style of bond with their parents tends to be anxious when they are separated from their parents. And then we have the fearful avoidant. Individuals belonging to this pattern believe that they are unworthy of love. They fear, they avoid, and this is mostly due to severe childhood trauma. If a child goes through trauma, now, these attachments, you run them when you are little, when you are in your formative stages. And now what happens within you is that inside your brain, there is something that is stored that we call an internal working model. When it comes to relationships, that you relate to people in a particular way because you learned a model of relating with people. And that is the way you do it. That is the way you relate with your spouse. That is the way you relate with other people who are significant to you. Remember, you can be having many types of mental disorders like anxiety. You're not able to control your impulses, or even your eating is not proper. Your moods, you have mood disorder, or you are schizophrenic or psychotic. You're not connecting things, or you have personality disorders, or you are in addictions that are heavy, or you have PTSD coming from relationships that were wanting, relationships that have been wanting. And you have to think, what do I need now? Is it that you need to see a psychiatrist? And we say, that's not where to start. Start with a psychologist, get an evaluation. If the psychologist thinks that you need now to go to a psychiatrist, because this is a treatment team that you require, so that you don't start with the medication and maybe you didn't need medication. But medication is part of treatment of mental illnesses. It can be inpatient or outpatient treatment that you're going through. But therapy is a major thing, whether you're going through medication or you're not, whether you're in an inpatient or outpatient, you need therapy. And support groups have also been known to be very, very helpful. When you are in workplace, these are the tips to improve workplace mental health. Talking openly about mental health, and providing mental health days, and being inclusive in terms of relationships, and being attentive in terms of communication, and keeping the conversation going on, not cutting it off, but allowing it to go on, and fostering a mentally healthy workplace, and being discreet when it comes to employment privacy. Do not publicize information that is not supposed to be publicized, and ensure resources are relevant to mental health, and provide easy access to resources. If it is about where would you go for therapies, and I know APA is cut out when it comes to that, and being proactive. being proactive as management, being proactive as supervisors, being proactive as employees, and making sure that your mental health is well taken care of. We started by saying there is no health without mental health, and that relationships are a major component when it comes to mental health. Because when we look at aspects and components of survival, eating is an aspect of survival, is something that we need to do so that we can survive, but also having nurturing relationships is an aspect of survival. In all places, in all sectors where you interact with people, it is important to inject health all the time, even if it's calling a therapist and saying, I don't like the way we talk to each other in our home. We need a therapist to come during one of our meetings so that we can be helped to talk to each other with decency. I think we need a session with my spouse. You know, the way we shout at each other, we need to know how to calm down, bring our physiological temperatures down so that we can be able to talk to each other. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope that this was useful to you as we have gone through, that there is something that you're getting out of this in terms of how to take care of yourself. Remember, we have talked about all aspects of your living, that you need to make sure that relationships are working for you. You are the driver, you are not a passenger. Being a driver means that you are an influencer. You can influence relationships to be positive for you. But when you leave them like that, they are going to be the cancer that is going to eat you up until you are completely annihilated. Thank you so much. Zainab, you can take it over from me.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Prof. That was very, very, very insightful. We want to appreciate you so much. I know we have tried to hurry you because of time, but I believe each and every attendee today has learned something. However, I would like to take about 10 minutes just so that you can respond to a few questions. I don't know if that is okay with you.
It's fine.
Thank you so much. I would like to start with Miriam Boru. Miriam, you've raised your hand. Maybe I can give you an opportunity before I pick it up. I don't know if you're still there.
Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you need to raise your voice a bit. Thank you,
Okay,
Miriam.
I think I need to add the volume on my
Yes.
speaker. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Actually, I had raised my hand at earlier time because I wanted to sort of give a shout, like give us a 5-minute break, a healthy break, so that we could be able to concentrate. But I don't have a question, but maybe ask that you have this as often as possible and dwelling into some of those disorders, because now what you had was listed, personality disorders, what could there be a time when you can maybe dwell in one or two, and then in the next session one or two, so that we truly understand? Because I think there are some disorders that we really need to hear about because they are very common in people like bipolar, and it would be helpful to really know how to handle such people, because we work with them, we relate with them wherever we are. You find them in churches, you find them in families. Yeah, something like that. That's a comment, actually, not a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. This is well noted. We will make time. I think, Professor, you've had that. I believe you'll be willing to join us again for the same.
Yes, I have heard.
Thank you. Frederick Odhiambo, are you still there? Frederick Odhiambo? Okay, Fred is not there. I don't know if Sheila Bundi. Are you there?
Yes, Zainab, thank you.
You're welcome, Sheila.
I was outside
This is a
briefly,
very
but I am.
insightful. Oh, is
Oh,
he speaking?
Fred.
Oh, okay.
Frederick, let's
Yes.
give Sheila, then we'll pick you up. Eh?
All right. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Sheila, over to you. Sheila?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Zainab.
Yes.
I'm saying this is a necessary and insightful discussion because the rates of mental health issues have increased over the years. Now, I was curious to get some advice from Professor regarding the negative impact of social media. Social media has become big, and we see a lot of people, especially the youth or early adults, who are affected because probably of trying to compete to a certain lifestyle that we see on social media, or beauty perfection for ladies, unattainable beauty standards, which then also negatively affects mental health. What advice can you give around that, and maybe how people can cope with such pressures in life?
Yeah, over to you, Prof.
Thank you. What Sheila is asking Budi about social media and what social media does to youth. When youth want to be like the models that we see, beauty perfection that they are searching for, and yet they do not have the money to do that. And whatever they are looking for is not attainable. I think just helping them and to be able to realize that that is what they hope for, but there is the realities around them. Do the realities around them allow them to be what they are aspiring to be? Because it's okay to aspire, it's okay to have a goal or an aim, but then where are you headed? How do you understand that beauty perfection competition? Is it a worthwhile kind of a competition to enter into? Or is it going to be activity in futility? Because it is going to be making you feel less important, less of self-worth, because the bar is getting raised. Anytime you get there, the bar is getting raised. Would you rather now compete with yourself and define your own perfection in terms of beauty, in terms of the aspirations that you'd want to get to? So I think these are questions of people lacking people lacking self-awareness, so that they can be able to separate that which is realistic and that which is not realistic. And I think we need to zero in a lot on young people in regard to that measure that is so high up, that is being put for them by media. And when it is not attainable, then it is breaking them. And those are some of the challenges that we get in terms of when young people are committing suicide. I remember a young girl committing suicide because she was organizing for baby showers for others, but when it came to her, they didn't come to organize for her. And she just decided to commit suicide, and that was it. So, because they used to parade themselves in social media, now she doesn't have a chance to be able to say, hey, here I am, and it is going to be my turn. Very unrealistic way of living a life. And they need to be helped to be able to define their identity very well, and to be able to see what is doable within their resources and what is not doable within their resources. But being adolescent, they are in the stage of role confusion and identity formation. What we need to push for is to help them to form their own identity, so that all these other things can fall off.
Thank you so much, Prof. Over to you, Frederick. Frederick Odhiambo, are you still with us? Frederick? Okay, it seems we have lost you. Let's have Saira Albai. Are you there? Saira Albai. Okay. What about?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, Frederick, you're back. Okay. Yes, we
Yeah, I
can
was
hear
just
you.
saying it was okay. It was a good session. I think when you hold this regularly, it really helps. Probably the challenge could be that I really would like to be handled the issue of dealing with as a parent dealing with the teenagers, especially when your kids are teenagers. At times you find you might overdo something, and when you look back and realize you did what was wrong, how to come back and try to sort it out. It's quite challenging, but stressful at some point. But it is what it is. If we tackle the next time, it could be very, very helpful. But it was a good talk. I really liked it.
Thank you so much, Fred. Prof is an expert in that. So our professor will be also sharing her number at the end of the session. Kindly pick it up, and then we'll also make a day for the same so that we can have a presentation for that. We'll let you know. Saira, I don't know whether you're still there. Saira Albai, are you there?
Good morning, Zainab.
Morning to you. You're welcomed.
Okay, I found the session very informative, and I wish the same to be conducted for our company. However, I will get back in touch with APA to arrange for the same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Saira. We much appreciate. Thank you so much. Over to you, Christine Okech. Christine, are you there? Okay. I don't seem to have Christine. I'll just go through the questions very, very fast because our time is really gone. We seem that we need to have this, we need to, to either start early or add in more hours, but unfortunately we all have to go back to our duties. So Prof, I'll just go through a few of the questions. We will be sharing our email address on the chat so that you can also drop the questions to us and we'll share them with Prof. So just to start with one or two, there's a question. Some friends are some friends are total introverts. How do I engage them when I realize that they are really down without being seen as invasive? Professor?
Okay, how do I engage them? The question is, how do I engage them when I realize they are really down without being seen as invasive? You actually ask people permission whether you can talk about something or you can give feedback, because when people are asked whether someone can be intrusive, they can say yes or no, and then we can know whether we need to engage or not. So you can ask directly that there is some feedback that you would want to give, and whether the person would be willing that you can give that kind of feedback. You can even do it in a seminar so that it's all of you and someone is going to be talking about that and dealing with that, so that the persons are picked from within a seminar, so that they are not feeling I am the one who is being spotlighted, because people don't like that. So you can use many strategies to try and bring to their attention something that needs to be attended to.
Hello, Prof. You're there, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I have a lot of pressure that you need to respond to Frederick on how to deal with babies. So with the teenagers. I don't know whether you have one or two comments on that.
I was hearing him faintly. Can you repeat or restate what he said? Because the voice was going away for me from where I am.
Okay, he said he has a challenge with dealing with his teenage children because at times when he advises, he's not so sure whether he's doing the right thing or the wrong thing. He doesn't know whether he's hurting them or supporting them.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. And number one, we need to appreciate that children are in different developmental stages, and in every stage, there are needs that we need to respond to, and there are skills and knowledge that we need to ingrain and mainstream in them. And there is a certain way we relate with them because of being in a particular stage in their own life. And adolescents, this is the time they want to be independent, to be autonomous, to discover, to go out there and show themselves because they are looking pretty and handsome and all. And you as a parent, sometimes you get very fearful because again, we say that when they are in the adolescent stage, they seem as if they are matured. But even when it comes to the brain maturity, the brain matures when they are 25 years. That's when you can see a difference, that the way this person is reasoning is different from the way they were reasoning before. They couldn't see consequences. Now they can see consequences. And if you remember many things that we have read or even seen in media regarding young people, I remember very well one time when students closed in Nyeri and they got into their bus and they were going towards Keberegwe and they were having sex in the bus, and people were seeing them and they were getting shocked that children can do that. And the bus was written, if you cannot go to high school, then you can go to school high, something like that. And then they were very excited about that. They can get very excited about things that are very hurting and damaging, or even fitting themselves in a vehicle when there are so many and dying in Nakuru one time. So adolescents, they think they are on a stage that they create in their own mind, and all of us can admire them because they are looking very nice and they are very intelligent, because that is the time that they start having abstract thinking. But remember, I'm saying in regard to neuroscience and even brain imaging, it shows that their brains are not very well developed. And so they are preferring friends much more than they prefer older people, because the older people, they find them to be outdated. But as a parent, you need to know that you need to be solid with them. But the way you come to them, you don't come to them as a teacher. You can come to them as a coach, but you mostly come to them as a counselor. You know, I'm not talking about a professional counselor. I'm talking about skills where you're asking questions. When you're asking them, how do you do that? They like it when they are asked, how do you do that? And they say, I'm going to be doing this, I'll be coming back at this time, right? So I am your parent. So yes. So just change the strategies so that they're not feeling like you're speaking to them as if they are retro children, because we find ourselves in that particular space as parents, so that they can feel respected and honored in their developmental stage, but still know they are still remaining so much so that they can be able to get to the adult stature.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Prof, I have another question. I think we're really short of time, but I would like just you to pick this closely or just briefly. My mother was involved in an accident in 2002, and since then she talks a lot and hates other people and does not take corrections? Kindly advise.
Involved in an accident, and then you get a brain trauma. And that brain trauma affects some organs of the brain, because for her changing, it's not like she wants to be mean and she wants to be irritable and she wants to behave in the way she's behaving. There are times that we need to respect people, that there is something that has happened to them and has completely transformed them. Because brain trauma does that, where it takes away some abilities that one used to have before. And sometimes being taken through counseling helps a bit. That talking too much is something that happens to people. They are not very sensitive. And even boundaries, they lack perspective of boundaries when it comes to talking, when it comes to even giving other people space within a relationship where people are relating, not because they want, but because of the brain trauma. That there is some organs in the brain that were affected, whether it is the place in the brain that helps them to be able to reason out and to be able to be considerate, you know. I think just an assessment of her would really help, so that remedios can be looked into, or rehabilitation of sorts can be looked into. In Kenya, we do not have medical facilities or even facilities that help a lot in the regaining of lost abilities apart from psychotherapy. But I think an assessment needs to be done so that we don't see her as someone who is trying to be mean and trying to disorganize others and trying to be kiberebere, because this happened after something. This happened after an accident, so that we can be more empathic with her. We can know mom changed when this happened.
Thank you so much, Prof. Before my last question, I would like you to tell us where you can be found and what services are offered at your place before we take the last question, and also your contacts.
Yeah, thank you, Zainab. I come from Kenya Institute of Business and Counseling Studies. You are a counseling services provider, and we offer counseling services, and we offer different types of counseling services. We offer therapy for children, and also we do psychological tests. We do drug testing, even for those from schools. And we also do psychometric testing for children, so that they can know what careers and what vocations are going to be well aligned to them, because sometimes children are not able to pick their subjects very well. They do not know what they are good at. And so a psychometric test, well, it's a little bit costly because it's 11,600, but it's a one-off. It doesn't have to be repeated again. And you save the child a lot of struggle in getting lost everywhere in terms of their vocation, in terms of their career. It can be marriage counseling or family counseling. Sometimes you may realize my whole family requires support, because we are very dysfunctional in some certain ways, and we need to look into that. If you want to do a course at your own time, you can do a course, because sometimes courses will help, like effective parenting. You may feel like you are having challenges, and we do effective parenting for 4 days, and then we cover a lot of areas, whether it is discipline and correction, mainstreaming masculinity and femininity in children, child abuse and how to do corrective, to have corrective measures in that, you know, methods of parenting, you know, all that, even the common behavioral problems among his children, and how to correct the same, and how to improve your attachment, your relationship with your children, and how to know that the way you are relating with your children, quality and quantity is good enough. We also have a rehabilitation center, which was accredited by NHIF 2 weeks ago. So we are going through documentation called Maranatha Restoration Homes. It has been rated twice, 2 years learning as the best rehabilitation center within the country. Again, because I was among those people who developed the national standards for treatment and rehabilitation of substance use disorders. And so understanding from an ACADA's point of view, what is it that needs to be implemented within a working rehabilitation center. So we have that, Maranatha Restoration Homes in Thika, Goigwa, and therefore referrals can be done. We do very well in mental health that are drug induced, because again, most of the ones that come for rehabilitation, the psychosis they have is drug induced. Yeah. The contact, let me give you institutional contact here for KIPCO, Nairobi, and Nairobi can also give you to other campuses, 0723 891 555, 0723 891 555. For Thika is 0728 087 101, 0728 087 101. For the rehabilitation center, the Maranatha Restoration Homes, it is 0716 537 946, 0716 537 946. I hope that's okay. Zainab, please.
Thank you so much, Prof. Unfortunately, I feel sad that I may not be able to ask the many questions we have, but I would like to share them with you. So I kindly request that you've sent in a question. We'll try to reach you if we have your number. If we are not able, kindly reshare it on our WhatsApp, which is 0720 600 577 0720 600 577, or you can drop them on our email, confidential email. The WhatsApp is also confidential on CDM, that is cat daddy mom dot wellness, WELLNESS at apainsurance.org. APA Insurance is small letters, one word, then we will be able to get in touch with you. Otherwise, I really want to appreciate your presence. Thank you very much for joining us. Would have liked to host you more, but unfortunately, time is not on our side. And on behalf of my colleague, that is Justus Monene, and the entire medical department, the senior bosses of APA Insurance, and the staff of APA Insurance, we want to appreciate everybody who has joined us this morning. Please accept our apologies. We are not able to handle the questions, but we'll try to reach out to you as much as possible. You can reach out to Prof also. She should be able to get in touch with you. Otherwise, we request that you have a good day and may God bless you. And thank you so much for being our guest this morning. Have a lovely time today.
Thank you.